Dead from 1968. Famously, probably the most famous movie that doesn't have a copyright on it, and that was accidental. Somebody just forgot to put the copyright thing in the title sequence here, and so it's for use. It's interesting that nobody's ever gone back to try to fix that. I don't know why. I have seen this twice, all the way through, both times in high school. I don't think I've watched it from start to finish since then, which is weird, actually, because I do own the Criterion Blu-ray. I need to watch that. They probably cleaned up the image a lot. It was a very cheaply made movie. I like that, though. I like it anytime somebody clearly just films in, like, some backwoods country house that was probably owned by their distant relatives. Gives me hope as a aspiring, no-budget filmmaker. You can pretty much shoot a movie anywhere if you have the desire to. George Romero. Pretty much the inventor of the modern zombie. Zombies weren't really flesh eaters until this movie. This movie's actually technically a redo of the book that inspired I Am Legend.
They ought to make the day the time changes, the first day of summer.
What?
Well, it's 8 o'clock and it's still light.
A lot of good the extra daylight does us. Now, we've still got a 3-hour drive back. We're not going to be home until after midnight.
Well, if it really bugged you, Johnny, you wouldn't do it.
You think I want to blow Sunday on a scene like this? You know, I figure we're either going to have to move Mother out here or move the grave into Pittsburgh.
She can't make a trip like this.
Oh, darn it, she can't. Is there any of that candy left?
No.
Look at this thing. We still remember. I don't. You know, I don't even remember what the man looks like.
Johnny, it takes you 5 minutes.
Yeah, 5 minutes to put the wreath on the grave and 6 hours to drive back and forth. Mother wants to remember, so we trot 200 miles into the country and she stays at home.
Well, we're here, John, all right?
The downside of cheap movies is cheap actors. I don't think these guys are very good actors.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're coming back on
This
the
guy's
air
probably the
after
best one. In a
interruption
little
due
bit, he
to
does a pretty
technical
good,
problems.
creepy voice. It's kind of Vincent Price-ish.
There's nothing wrong with the radio. Must have been the station.
Which row is it in?
I think the problem with acting, really up until very recently, is that we hadn't matured it for the medium of cinema, and actors in old movies still read their lines as if they were on, like, the Broadway type of acting, as if they were in the theater.
Well, there's no one around.
I don't think it translates very well.
You'd gotten up earlier.
Oh, look, I already lost an hour's sleep on the time change.
I think you complain just to hear yourself talk. There it
I
is.
mean, the time change is worth complaining about. I thought they were supposed to do away with that this year, but I'm hearing that they're not going to. It's too bad.
I wonder what happened to the one from last year. Each year we spend good money on these things. We come out here and the one from last year's gone.
Well, the flowers die, and the caretaker or somebody takes them away.
Yeah, a little spit and polish. You can clean this up. Sell it next year. Wonder how many times we bought the same one. Hey, come on, Barb. Church was this morning, huh?
Gotta love that cut. There he goes. First zombie. I'll have to comment on this zombie in a second. There is one thing I don't like about Romero zombies. I'll point it out in a couple minutes.
Hey, I mean praying's for church, huh? Come on.
Hey, Barb,
I
praying's
haven't
for
seen you
church.
in
Come on.
Well, there's not much sense in my going
It's
to
time
church.
for spaghetti now.
Do you remember one time when we were small, we were out here? It was from right over there. I jumped out at you from behind the tree, and Grandpa got all excited, and he shook his fist at me, and he said, "Boy, you'll be damned to hell." Remember that? Right over there. Well, you used to really be scared here.
Johnny,
You're still afraid.
stop it now.
See, they aren't good actors, but... Listen to this.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
See, that's just a classic
Stop
good,
it.
creepy voice.
You're ignorant.
They're coming for you, Barbara.
Stop
He
it.
should have been in
You're
voice
acting
acting.
like a child.
They're coming for you. Look, there comes one of them now.
You get it? Because that's
He'll
one of
hear
them.
you.
Here he comes now. I'm getting out of here.
Johnny. No! No! Johnny! Help
Boy, whoever choreographed this fight sequence, top notch. That's it, Johnny's out. That's a good shot. There is a lot of, if I remember correctly, there's a lot of good angles and framing in this movie. Okay, so in a couple seconds, this zombie is going to do something that I have a problem with, because if you watch all the Romero Living Dead movies, what happens is the zombies get smarter as the series goes on, and they start figuring out how to, I guess, do things that humans can do. See, like, this zombie knows to try to open the car door, and in a second here he's gonna figure out to grab a brick and smash the window. And my issue with that is if you're a zombie, you're dead flesh, why do you know any of that? I prefer, like, you know, see, here he goes. Look at that. I prefer the Call of Duty zombies that are completely mindless, and it's all they can do to just run after you and eat your brains. She's going down the car. At least the car started. Or, well, I guess it didn't start. It was the parking brake that she took off. I'm not gonna make a joke about women drivers. I'm not gonna make a joke about women drivers. I guess that was a joke about women drivers, wasn't it? See, like, this guy's essentially just Frankenstein's monster. In looks, too, but just in behavior. But again, this movie was like the first time that zombies that were even remotely close to what we think of as zombies today. This was the first time those even appeared in movies. So we had to hone it over time. I think there have been better zombie movies than any of the Living Dead series. Which isn't to say they're bad. There's just better ones. Just because you do it first doesn't mean you do it best, is, I guess, my point. I did watch this whole opening sequence recently because we are using parts of this movie for a different EVCO project. That's probably still a while away. Do have good lighting here in this house. Spooky lighting. One problem with this character is she just is reduced to the background once she finds the other people in this house. I'm not the first one to make note of that, but it is a problem. I don't like when movies set you up with one protagonist and then replace them a quarter of the way through or half the way through. That's the biggest issue with movies like Psycho, because yes, the plot twist of killing off Janet Leigh halfway through is like what makes Psycho famous, but then it's also a much more average movie after the shower sequence. The reason this movie gets away with it is because the new protagonist is Ben, who's an African American, and that allows for basically the entire history of this movie being a social commentary. And all the previous, all the future movies in the series as well. I've never heard that sound for when an old phone has no signal. This is probably the role I would want to play in the movie. Just a zombie. Obviously a zombie that gets a little bit of screen time, but... So here's her first mistake, is just hiding out in a house that is right by the cemetery. Not that she necessarily knows yet that these are the living dead, but at the same time she should. Jump scare. Here comes your boy, it's Ben. Played by Dwayne Jones. I don't even think he did much outside of this, filmography-wise.
It's all right. Don't worry about him. I can handle him. Probably be a lot more of them as soon as they find out about us. The truck is out of gas. This pump out here is locked. Is there a key? We can try to get out here if we can get some gas. Is there a key?
See, now Barbara's completely useless. So we got Ben here. If she wasn't useless, then they probably together would have escaped, and this movie wouldn't be an hour and a half.
Do you live here?
I have the creakiest chair. It's because it's not my chair. Hopefully y'all don't hear it.
You gotta get out of here. We have to get where there's some other people.
Yes, the pack mentality.
Maybe we better take some food.
But just like any zombie movie, the whole point is it's the other people who are the real monsters. Ha ha ha. I think that's why I like zombies so much in theory, but I don't think that they usually make for great movies. They make for okay to good movies. And I think it's because I just like the zombie action. I like the video game aspect of just shooting zombies. But because zombie movies always have to make a point about humanity being the monster, there's always more human-on-human interaction than human versus zombie action.
What's happening?
Oh, you think it's happening?
What's happening?
Okay, see, why do they know to do that? That's my problem right there with Romero zombies. You know, in Land of the Dead, which is like, I think the 4th in this series, they actually figure out how to use guns. To me, I think that's stupid.
Have you seen any more around here? I can take care of those two.
I don't
I know you're afraid, but we have
I
to.
don't know! I don't know! What's happening?
I'm typically bigger on character stuff than the actual construction of the movie, but this is a really smart movie because they use shadow to great effect, because obviously the makeup on the zombies was the makeup of 1968. But with it being so dark, you know, it just helps. It helps hide kind of how fake they might otherwise look. Of course, the downside is then it just makes for a really dark movie. The kind Zack Snyder likes. I honestly think that the music in this movie is a bit abrasive. Like, for how loud and just dramatic it is, it doesn't really match with what's happening. Like, this isn't the most dramatic part in the movie, but the music makes it seem like they want you to think it is. I do like this movie well enough. I don't want the whole commentary to sound like I'm ragging on it. But obviously it's not perfect.
Don't look at it.
Maybe she does need to look at it and get used to it. Snap out of her scaredy cat routine. The Barbara in the 1990 remake is so much more useful. She actually does stuff. That's a good movie too. That's a good remake. It's the 1990 movie. Never mind that this house is surrounded by a bunch of dry grass.
Get some more lights on in this house.
But why? Zombies aren't averse to the light. They're averse to the heat, but... Okay, see, and this is something, I think it's the 1990 remake that actually points out is the wrong strategy, because...
Something about a fireplace. Something we can nail this place up.
Yeah, because he starts nailing up windows, and what the 1990 version shows is that noise attracts more zombies. I don't remember if this version shows that or not.
I know you're afraid.
It might imply it.
I'm afraid too. But we have to try to board the house up together. Now, I'm going to board up the windows and the doors. Do you understand? We'll be all right here. We'll be all right here until someone comes to rescue us. But we'll have to work together. You'll have to help me. Now, I want you to go in and get some wood so I can board the place up. Do you understand?
And see, if everybody else didn't show up and cause trouble, this actually is a decent strategy. Not the boarding up part. I think it's not necessary. But if you just stay in the house and hold out for a while, you know, ration all the canned food that's probably in there. Because they would be alright. The cops or the civilian militia, they show up like movie time, they show up in an hour. Real time, they probably show up in like 6, 7 hours. It's really not that long a time to wait. But even if they didn't show up that quickly, if I were in a zombie apocalypse, I would just wait for a couple weeks so that hopefully the zombie population would thin out. And then if I wanted to leave the house, I wouldn't be fighting a whole mass of them. I don't know. I've thought about this a lot. I kind of want there to be a zombie apocalypse, just so I can put my years of planning and strategizing to good use. The one thing I can never do is pick a choice of weapon in a zombie apocalypse. They all sound like too much fun. Chainsaw, machete, axe, various types of guns. Of course, guns run out of ammo, so you do need something with a blade, I would say. I think it's because, again, she's really not that good an actor, but like I have trouble believing that Barbara's this in shock for as long as she is in this movie. Obviously, different people react different ways to intense situations, but like she must have been so sheltered growing up. Her character.
No, that's wrong. Here, I want you to pick out some nails. Pick out the biggest ones you can find.
You'd think like the adrenaline would kick in and she'd be useful for a little while.
Secure. If we have to, we can run in here and board up the doors. Won't be long before those things be back pounding their way in here. They're afraid now.
I don't know what they are. I mean, for a second with the fire, but
I found that out.
yeah. I don't think zombies are afraid for very long, though. And that's another thing. They really shouldn't be smart enough to feel fear. That's the problem with the Romero movies. They treat the zombies as basically just subhuman. Like, they happen to be rotting, they happen to want to eat brains, but that's it. Otherwise, they're just human. I don't like that.
Anyhow, that's where I found that truck I have out there.
I want them to be completely
There's a radio in the
mindless.
truck. I had jumped in to listen to it when a big gasoline truck came screaming right across the road. But there must have been 10, 15 of those things chasing after it, grabbing and holding on. Now, I didn't see them at first. I could just see that the truck was moving in a funny way. And those things were catching up to it. The truck went right across the road. Slammed on my brakes to keep from hitting it myself. It went right through the guardrail. I guess the driver must have cut off the road into that gas station by Beekman's Diner. It went right through the billboard, ripped over a gas pump, and never stopped moving. By now it's like a moving bonfire. Didn't know if the truck was going to explode or what. But still, here's a man screaming.
I wonder if they wanted to have that scene, and they're just having him give this monologue because they couldn't afford to make such a scene on their
I
budget.
looked back at the diner to see
That's what I would do.
if there was anyone there who could help me. It was when I noticed that the entire place had been encircled. There wasn't a sign of life left except... By now there were no more screams. I realized that I was alone with 50 or 60 of those things, just standing there, staring at me. I started to drive. I just plowed right through them. They didn't move. They didn't run or just stood there, staring at me. Just wanted to crush them.
Ben's not all that good an actor either.
Scattered through the air like bugs.
His dialogue's not that good, though.
We were riding in the cemetery,
That doesn't help.
Johnny and me. Johnny. We came to put a wreath on my father's grave. Johnny, and he said, "Can I have some candy, Barbara?"
Actually, I think what he
we
said
didn't
was,
have
"Is
any."
there any candy left?"
And,
Run it back. That's what he said.
oh, it's hot in here. Hot. And he said, "Oh, it's late. Why did we start so late?" And I said, "Johnny, if you'd gotten up earlier, we wouldn't be late."
Damn it, Johnny. It's all
Johnny
your
asked
fault.
me if I were afraid. And I said, "I'm not afraid, Johnny." And then
She then
this
spent the
man
rest of the
started
movie
walking
being
up the
afraid.
road. He came slowly, and Johnny kept teasing me and saying, "He's coming to get you, Barbara." And I laughed at him and said, "Johnny, stop it." And then Johnny ran away. And I went up to this man, and I was going to apologize.
Why don't you just
I don't
keep
think that's
calm?
how it went down.
And I looked up, and I said, "Please." And he grabbed me. He grabbed me, and he ripped at me. He held me, and he ripped at my clothes.
I think you should just calm down.
I think
Oh,
you're right, Ben. She should.
Johnny! Johnny, help me! Oh, help me! And he wouldn't let me go. He ripped. And then
because Johnny took one to the head.
We have to wait for Johnny. Maybe we better go out and get him.
Good idea.
We have to go out and get Johnny. He's out there. Please, don't you hear me? We've got to go out and get him. Please! We have got to go get Johnny! Please help me! Please.
I believe the doctors would say she's in denial.
What's going on out there? This is no Sunday school picnic.
Don't you understand? My brother is alone!
Fortunately, we have enough champagne to fill
My
denial.
brother is not dead! Oh.
Whoa. I think that was a big deal back then. That was maybe like the first big moment in the movie that was unusual, was letting a black man punch a white woman. And it not really being all that frowned upon, because, I mean, she was hysterical. Look, there's the mic coming
Because
in.
of the obvious threat to untold numbers of
Top of the
citizens,
screen.
and because of the crisis which is even now developing, this radio station will remain on the air day and night. This station and hundreds of other radio and TV stations throughout this part of the country are pooling their resources through an emergency network hookup to keep you informed of all developments. At this hour, we repeat, these are the facts as we know them. There is an epidemic of mass murder being committed by a virtual army of unidentified assassins. The murders are taking place in villages, cities, rural homes, and suburbs with no apparent pattern or reason for the slayings. It seems to be a sudden, general explosion of mass homicide. We have some descriptions of the assassins. Eyewitnesses say they are ordinary-looking people. Some say they appear to be in a kind of trance. Others describe them as being...
Assassin is a bit fancy of a term, I would think, but...
So, at this point, there is no really authentic way for us to say who or what to look for and guard yourself against.
You're listening to WPIG, all rock, all the time.
Complete bewilderment at this hour.
WPIG, Aurora.
That any kind of organized investigation is yet underway. Police, sheriff's deputies, and emergency ambulances are literally deluged with calls for help. The scene can best be described as mayhem. Mayors of Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, and Miami, along with the governors of several eastern and midwestern states, have indicated the National Guard may be mobilized at any moment, but that has not happened as yet. The only advice our reporters have been able to get from official sources is for private citizens to stay in their homes behind locked doors. Do not venture outside for any reason until the nature of this crisis has been determined and until we can advise what course of action to take. Keep listening to radio and TV for any special instructions as this crisis develops further. Thousands of office and factory workers are being urged to stay at their places of employment, not to make any attempt to get to their homes. However, in spite of this urging and warning, streets and highways are packed with
Well, of course they are. Since when did people listen to emergency warnings?
Course of action at this time is simply to stay where you
Yeah, how has he not started a frickin'... I mean, it's not really a forest, but forest fire. A field fire. We need a burn ban on this house. Barbara just said it was hot. I bet it's a hot summer day and he's lighting random shit on fire.
Latest word also from National Press Services in Washington, D.C. now tells us that the emergency presidential conference, which we've just mentioned, will include high-ranking scientists from the National...
I think this is one of those movies that would have been more interesting without any musical score at all. Like, if we just had this guy's voice on the radio, we didn't have to keep cutting to the music. Kind of makes more sense to me.
You're listening have joined their facilities in an emergency network to bring you this news as it develops. We urge you to stay tuned to radio and TV and to stay indoors at all costs. Late reports reaching this newsroom tell of frightened people seeking refuge in churches, schools, and government buildings, demanding shelter and protection from the wholesale murder, which apparently is engulfing much of the nation. Law enforcement officials are at a loss to explain or even a desire even to theorize about the reasons for this grave murder.
One thing I've always wondered about the Romero movies that I don't remember if they ever answer is, did this just happen in America? They always talk about it happening across most of the nation, like the guy just said. But I don't think there's a movie in the Romero universe that takes place outside of the continental United States. What if he just knocked her out again?
I found a gun and some bullets out there.
It was only late yesterday
What,
when
these?
it became clear we were facing some kind of national emergency. When first reports began filtering in, newsmen and
Hey, sorry I punched you.
about the opinions
This place is boarded up pretty solid now.
in nature. However, as these
We ought to be all right here for a while.
dramatically, it was soon apparent that
We have
this
a
was
gun
something
and
more than the
bullets.
usual run of lawlessness.
Food and radio.
Began to suspect an obscure kind of
Exactly.
Sooner or later, someone bound to come and get us out.
If the rest of these whack jobs didn't show up, they would have been alright. Like I said earlier.
urging you to seek shelter in a building. Lock the doors and windows.
But Baldy Face has to come show up and
Strangers, and keep tuned to your radio
be a dick about it.
survival instructions and further details of this continuing story.
Look, I don't know if you're hearing me,
In the absence of any
but I'm going upstairs now.
almost as though some critical balance of
If anything should try to break in here, I can hear it from up there, and I'll be down to take care of it.
we repeat, this radio station
Everything is all right for now. I'll be back to reinforce the windows and doors later. But you'll be all right for now, okay? Okay.
is Cumberland, Maryland.
Oh,
Defense
Ted.
officials in Cumberland have told newsmen that murder victims show evidence of having been partially devoured.
And she didn't move from the couch for the rest of the motion picture. You know, I didn't know this until very recently, because I saw it at the video store. They actually made an animated Night of the Living Dead. It's the exact same movie, but animated, and I think in color.
Consistent reports from witnesses
It's like one of those unnecessary projects, but like, I am kind of curious what it turned out to be like.
To examine the bodies of some of the victims. Medical authorities in Cumberland have concluded that in all cases, the killers are eating the flesh of the people they murdered. Repeating this latest bulletin just received moments ago from Cumberland, Maryland, civil defense authorities have told newsmen that murder victims show evidence of having been partially devoured by their murderers. Medical examination of victims' bodies shows conclusively that the killers are eating the flesh of the people they kill. And so this incredible story becomes more ghastly with each report. It's difficult to imagine such a thing actually happening. But
It's
these
odd that they
are the
only
reports we have been
partially eat
receiving
their
and passing on to
victims.
you.
They're not like
Reports which have
animals
been
where they
verified
just
as completely
eat an
irresponsible in
entire
this crucial
person
situation.
before moving on to the
It
next
is
one.
happening, and it would appear that no one is safe from this wave of mass murder.
Yeah. If these guys hadn't been here, we would have been okay.
Don't shoot! We're from town. A radio.
This guy's not a good actor either. Nobody in this movie's a good actor.
How long you guys been down there? I could use
It's like I said, Johnny was probably the best.
You mean you didn't hear the racket we were making up here?
How are we supposed to know what was going on? Could have been those things for all we knew.
That girl was screaming. Sure, you must know what a girl screaming sounds like. Those things don't make any noise. Anybody would know somebody that needed help.
Look, it's kind of hard to hear what's going on from down there. We thought we could hear screams, but for all we knew, that could have meant those things were in the house afterward.
And you wouldn't come up and help.
Well, if there were more, the racket sounded like the place was being ripped apart. How were we supposed to know what was going on?
Now, wait a minute. You just got finished saying you couldn't hear from down there. Now you say it sounded like the place was being ripped apart. It would be nice if you get your story straight, man.
All right, now you tell me. I'm not going to take that kind of a chance when we got a safe place. We luck into a safe place, and you're telling us we got to risk our lives just because somebody might need help, huh?
Yeah, something like that.
All right, why don't we settle this? Look, mister, we came up. Okay, we're here. Now I suggest we all go back downstairs before any of those things find out we're in here.
They can't get in here.
You got the whole place boarded up?
Yeah, most of it. All the few spots upstairs. They won't be hard to fix.
You're insane. The cellar's the safest place.
I'm telling you, they can't get in here.
And I'm telling you, those things turned over our car. We were damn lucky to get away at all. Now you tell me those things can't get through this lousy pile of wood? His wife and kids downstairs. Kids are...
Well, I still think we're better off up here.
We could strengthen everything up, Mr. Cooper.
With all of us working, we can fix this place up in no time. We have everything we need up here.
We can take all that stuff downstairs with us. Man, you're really crazy. You know that? You got a million windows up here.
I like how they just met and they're arguing as if they've known each other for
I told you those
months.
things don't have any strength. I smashed 3 of them and pushed another one out the door.
Did you hear me when I told you they turned over our car?
Oh, hell, any good 5 men can do that.
That's my point. Only there's not going to be 5 or even 10. There's going to be 20, 30, maybe 100 of those things. And as soon as they know we're here, this place is going to be crawling with them.
Well, if there are that many, they'll probably get
They
us
already
where-
know you're here.
Look, the cellar. The cellar, there's only one door, right? Just one door, that's all we have to protect. Tom and I fixed it so it locks and boards from the inside. But up here, all these windows, why, we'd never know where they were going to hit us next. You got a point, Mr. Cooper. But down in the cellar, there's no place to run to. I mean, if they did get in, there'd be no back exit. We'd be done for. We can get out of here if we have to. And we got windows to see what's going on outside. But down there with no windows, if a rescue party did come, we wouldn't even know it.
Look, the problem is the cellar's right there. Like, they can just sit up here until the things start trying to get in, and then they can go into the cellar.
I think he's right. You know how many's out there?
I don't know. Maybe 6 or 7.
Look, you two can do whatever you like. I'm going back down to the cellar, and you better decide. Because I'm going to board up that door, and I'm not going to unlock it again no matter what happens. Now, wait a minute, Mr. Cooper. No, I'm not going to wait. I've made my decision, now you make yours. Now, wait a minute. Let's think about this. We can make it to the cellar if we have to. And if we do decide to stay down there, we'll need some things from up here. So let's at least consider this a while.
You box yourself in the cellar and those things get in the house, you've had it. At least up here you have a fighting chance.
Yeah, it looks like about 8 or 10 out there now.
There's more than there were. There are a lot out back, too.
I just love the mild punching sounds. It's not how you want to aim with a rifle either. You know, a while ago, he acted like he already knew you had to destroy the head. He smashed that one. Something else is that they can clearly see how slow these zombies move. I don't know why they're worried about it at all. If they broke into the house, they can run from the house and they can outrun the zombies easily. The movie kind of requires these characters to not think like adults is the issue. Always gotta throw in one naked zombie. That's when the shadows come into play again. Nom nom. Nom nom bug.
You're crazy. Those things are going to be at every window and door in this place. We've got to get down into the cellar.
Go down in that damn cellar. Get out of here.
Take your damn cellar and get out of my house.
Keep your hands up here. And everything else is up here, too. Because if I stay up here, I'm fighting for everything up here. And the radio and the food is part of what I'm fighting for. Now, if you're going down the cellar, get.
The man's insane. He's insane. We've got to have food down there. We've got a right.
This is your house.
We've got a right.
You going down there with him?
Well,
Yes or no? This is your last chance. No beating around.
This guy's such a sheep. He doesn't know what he wants.
Listen, I got a kid down there. She can't possibly. I couldn't bring her up here. She can't possibly take all the racket and those things smashing through the windows.
Well, you're her father. If you're stupid enough to go die in that trap, that's your business. However, I am not stupid enough to follow you. It is tough for the kid. That old man is so stupid. Now, get the hell down in the cellar. You can be the boss down there. I'm boss up here.
That's the other thing that a black character wouldn't usually get to say at this point in time.
You know, I want to open this door again. I mean it. Mr. Cooper, with your help, we could... With my help?
Let him go, man. His mind is made up. Just let him go.
Let him go. Get him out of here.
Judy, come on up here, honey.
Judy, 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 Judy.
You're gonna let them get hurt too, huh? It's all right, honey. Go ahead.
Problem is, these characters have to talk as less like real people and more just like representations of the different types of, you know,
There's lots of places we can run to.
sides that people would take in a situation like this.
We'd all be a lot better off. All three of us were
It's very Twilight Zone-y.
Hey. Hey, kid.
Most Twilight Zone episodes have characters that don't talk like real people, they just talk like ideals.
He's wrong.
Ideals personified, I should say.
I'm not boxing myself in down there.
Remains on the air day and night.
Well, we're safe now. It's boarded up tight.
What about Tom and Judy?
They want to stay up there, let them. There are two other people upstairs, a man and a girl.
We heard the screaming.
Yeah, but I didn't know who they were, and I wasn't about to take any unnecessary chances.
Of course not, Harry.
Larry seems like the kind of guy who was in the war, but as a cook. And he pretends like he knows what he's doing. Always going on about how he was in the war. Never revealing that he's just a chef.
What it is. She feels warm. Maybe it's shock.
Where'd you get the bandage?
Some laundry in a basket. I tore a sheet.
Yeah, go ahead and smoke in the closed up cellar. No ventilation.
Let them stay upstairs. Let them. Too many ways those monsters can get in up there.
See, he knows he's wrong. He has to keep talking himself into it.
We'll see when they come begging me to let them in down here.
That's important, isn't it?
What?
To be right, everybody else to be wrong.
What do you mean by that?
Does anyone up there know why we're being attacked?
Whatever it is, it isn't just happening here. It's Some kind of mass murder. It's going on everywhere. The radio said to stay inside.
Radio?
Radio upstairs. I heard a news bulletin.
There's a radio upstairs and you boarded us in down here?
I know what I'm doing.
What did it say?
Nothing. Nothing. They don't know anything yet. There's mass murder everywhere, and people are supposed to look for a safe place to hide.
Take the boards off that door.
We are staying down here, Helen.
Harry, that radio is at least some
See what I
kind of
mean about
indication.
actors
If the
in
authorities
this
know what's
era
happening with those
acting
kids,
as if they're on
people for it,
stage?
they'll tell us
Like,
what to do.
all of
How
Mr.
are we
Cooper's
gonna know what's
movements are
going
so
on if our film isn't
needlessly
done yet?
dramatic and forceful. That doesn't translate well to camera. They just hadn't learned that yet. Took them decades to figure it out, really.
We may not enjoy living together, but dying together isn't going to solve anything. Those people aren't our enemies.
Mr. Cooper, there's on the television set upstairs.
Let's go up.
A television set is something you have to find. It's not just sitting there.
Come downstairs for a few minutes. Harry and I could come upstairs.
Okay, yeah, right away. Will you do it?
Do I have to?
Look, honey, nothing's going to get done with them down there and us up here. Do this for me.
Okay.
Okay, open up.
I'll take good care of her, Helen. She's all I have. Why don't you go upstairs now?
Well, you definitely don't have Larry. He's nothing worth living for. It's hard to believe anyone was ever named Larry. It's just such a ridiculous name.
Her brother was killed.
Hey, give me a hand with this thing.
I know it's short for Lawrence,
I gotta go help Ben with the television.
but Lawrence sounds like a name and Larry just doesn't. And I'm sure there's been people who were just named Larry on their birth certificate without being Lawrence. And whoever those people are, it's a shame for them. Yeah, I said it. I discriminate against people with weird names. Larry being one of them. Back in the age when everyone smoked. It's too bad smoking's bad for you. It looks so cool on camera.
Don't be afraid of me. I'm Helen Cooper, Harry's wife.
Oh, Harry. I thought they were saying Larry this whole time. Harry Cooper. Harry's a worse name than Larry, so don't get me started on that.
Ridiculous. Look at this. A
Look at
million
this.
spots up here. Give me one of those.
Give me one of those. Look at this. I'm Harry Cooper. Got the worst name
Her
ever.
brother was killed.
What do I care if her brother was killed? Was he killed in the cellar? If it wasn't killed in the cellar, I don't care.
And they talk about these windows. I can't see a damn thing. There could be 15 million of those things out there. That's how much good these windows are.
I don't need windows, I just need a good cellar.
Why don't you do something to help somebody?
Here, I have it. Drag a couple of those chairs together.
There's a socket over here.
Who was living in this house, and why wasn't their TV set up in a way that...
You better watch this and try to understand what's going on.
The hell's he yelling at her for?
Is there anything I can do?
I don't want to hear any more from you, mister. If you stay up here, you take orders from me. And that includes leaving the girl alone.
It's on, it's on. There's no sound.
God, he is really one of the most annoying characters in movie history.
Incredible as they seem, are not the results of mass hysteria.
Mass hysteria. What do they think? We're imagining all this? Shut up!
In all parts of the country. The wave of murder which is sweeping the eastern third of the nation is being committed by creatures who feast upon the flesh of their victims. First eyewitness accounts of this grisly development came from people who were understandably frightened and almost incoherent. Officials and newsmen at first discounted those eyewitness descriptions as being beyond belief. However, the reports persisted. Medical examinations of some of the victims bore out the fact that they had been partially devoured. I think we have some late word just arriving, and I'll interrupt to bring this to you. This is the latest disclosure in a report from National Civil Defense Headquarters in Washington. It has been established that persons who have recently died have been returning to life and committing acts of murder. A widespread investigation of reports from funeral homes, morgues, and hospitals has concluded that the unburied dead are coming back to life and seeking human victims. It's hard for us here to believe what we're reporting to you, but it does seem to be a fact. When this emergency first began, radio and television was advising people to stay inside, behind locked doors for safety. Well, that situation has now changed. We're able to report a definite course of action for you. Civil defense machinery has been organized to provide rescue stations with food, shelter, medical treatment, and protection by armed National Guardsmen. Stay tuned to the broadcasting stations in your local area for this list of rescue stations. This list will be repeated throughout our news coverage. Look for the name of the rescue station nearest you and make your way to that location as soon as possible.
So we have that truck. If we can get some gas, we can get out of here.
There's a pump out by the shed.
I know, that's why I pulled in here, but it's locked.
Emergency meeting called this afternoon by the President. Since convening this conference of the Presidential Cabinet, the FBI, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the CIA has not produced any public information. Why
There's
are
a
space
surprise.
experts being consulted about an earthbound emergency? So far, all the betting on the answer to that question centers on the recent Explorer satellite shot to Venus. That satellite, you'll recall, started back to Earth, but never got here. That's the space vehicle which orbited Venus and then was purposely destroyed by NASA when scientists discovered it was carrying a mysterious high-level radiation with it. Could that radiation be somehow responsible for the wholesale murders we're now suffering? Newsman
Yes.
Don Quinn in Washington has posed those
It's
questions.
obvious our best move is to try to get out of here.
How are you going to get over to that pump?
At the White House.
Look!
You're coming from a meeting regarding
Love their
explosion of the
reactions.
Venus probe, is that right?
Yes, that was the subject of the meeting.
You feel there is a connection between this and the phenomenon?
There's a definite connection. A definite connection.
In other words, you feel that the radiation on the Venus probe is enough to cause these mutations?
There was a very high degree of radiation.
Well, just a minute. I'm not sure that that's certain at all. I don't think that has been irrefutably
that we have at this time.
In other words, it is the military's viewpoint that the radiation is not the cause of the mutation.
I can't speak for the entire military at this time, gentlemen. I don't
Or
disagree
ever.
with these gentlemen presently until this is irrefutably proved.
Everything is being done that can be done.
We'll have to hurry for our next meeting.
That's such a government way to talk about it.
Professor, you feel that there is a definite connection between the...
Definite connection as far as...
Let's keep saying the phrase definite connection, and that will solve this entire situation.
Was the satellite, when the satellite was exploded?
Unusual amount of radiation, enough to cause mutation under certain circumstances.
Could have happened.
Have a bearing on it.
It does seem to have a bearing.
Will there be a reply for this?
Later?
Yes.
There will be a reply.
Yes.
Later this afternoon. There will be a report this afternoon.
Well, perhaps there will be a report.
Later.
Will you close the window?
We are everything possible to solve the problem.
No, we have to try to get out of here.
He said the rescue stations have doctors and medical supplies. If we could get Karen there, we could get help for her.
Romero is one of the world's foremost authorities on space science.
Oh, it's too late for Karen.
I saw a sign that said Willard.
Any moment.
It's only about 17 miles from here.
Karen needs to see the
You know
manager.
this, are you from around here?
Judy and I are both from around here. We were on our way up to the lake to go swimming. And Judy had a radio, and we heard the first reports about this. So we knew the old house was here, and we came in and found the lady upstairs dead. Then these other people came. We went down into the basement and put a bar across the door, and it is pretty
These
strong.
other people,
How could we
as they're
possibly
right
get away
there.
from here? We've got a sick child, 2 women, 1 woman out of her head, 3 men, and the place is surrounded with these things.
Dr. Grimes, your entire staff, I know, has been working very hard to find some solution to these things that are happening. Do you have any answers at this time?
Yes, we have some answers. But first, let me stress the importance of seeking medical attention for anyone who's been injured in any way. We don't know yet what complications might result from such injuries.
How bad has your kid been hurt?
Good advice, Doctor. Now, how about the basic complications? Well,
Look, you go down there and tell Judy. Yeah, you tell Judy to come up here and you stay with the kid, all right?
Action taken with regard to the Venus probe. In the coal room at the university, we had a cadaver from which all 4 limbs had been amputated. Sometime early this morning, it opened its eyes and began to move its trunk. It was dead, but it opened its eyes and tried to move.
They want you upstairs. Did she ask for me?
She hasn't done anything.
I don't understand. Baby. It's Mommy.
I heard. I'll come back down as soon as I find out.
Well, that's specific.
Thank you, Judy.
The body should be disposed of at once, preferably by cremation.
Well, how long after death, then, does the body become reactivated?
It's only a matter of minutes.
Minutes? Well, that doesn't give people time to make any arrangements.
Oh, you're right. It doesn't give them time to make funeral arrangements. The bodies must be carried to the street and burned. They must be burned immediately. Soak them with gasoline and burn them. The bereaved will have to forego the dubious comforts at a funeral service.
Soak them with gasoline and
They're
burn
just
them.
dead flesh and dangerous.
I see.
Judy, I need you to find some bedspreads or sheets to tear up into small strips, okay? Is there a fruit cellar here?
Yes.
We need some bottles or jars. Make Molotov cocktails and hold them out while we try to escape.
Hey, there's a big can of kerosene down there.
I'll see what I can find.
I'll look for the bottles. There's a big key ring down there. There may be a key to the gas pump on it. I'll check.
We can toss the cocktails from a window upstairs. Meantime, a couple of us can go out and try to get the gas and come back for the rest of the people.
But that'll leave a door open someplace.
Yeah, that's right. It better be this door. It's closer to the truck. Before we go, we'll put some supplies behind the cellar door. While we're gone, the rest of you can hold up in there.
I found some fruit jars in the cellar.
Oh yeah, I
There's a
like
key
this
on there
idea.
that's labeled for the gas pump out back.
I'm not really that used to the truck. I found it abandoned.
I'm not sure why they think their best strategy is to leave. It doesn't matter if they stay in the house or in the cellar, but they need to stay somewhere. They don't need to be out running around for no reason.
We'll put whatever
They're not out of supplies
behind
yet.
the cellar door. You can go upstairs and toss the cocktails from a window. Tom, you and I will have to unboard this door. After you toss the cocktails, you hustle back down here and lock this door. It's no good to board it up because we'll have to get back in quickly. After we get the gas and get back into the house, then we'll worry about getting everybody into the truck. Now let's move it.
I really do like that whole 9-minute radio sequence or television sequence.
Before this emergency is over, we will need many, many more such rescue stations.
Yeah. I think this would have been a good radio program, sort of like the original War of the Worlds.
You always have a smile for me. How can you smile like that all the time?
Now these two have to have character development all
How
of a
many
sudden.
have done? Come on, honey, we gotta move.
Tom, are you sure about the phone?
The phone is dead out. All you get is a recorded message.
If I could only call the folks. They're going to be so worried about us.
Sister,
Everything
the
will be
folks
all
are
right.
dead.
As soon as we get to Willard, we'll call them. They might even be there.
I know. Tom, are you sure we're doing the right thing, Tom?
What, about getting out of here?
Yeah.
Well, the television said that's the right thing to do. We've got to get to a rescue station.
We've got to listen to the
don't know.
television.
Come on, honey, you're starting to sound like Mr. Cooper now.
But why do you have to go out there?
Look, I know how to handle that truck, and I can handle the pump. Ben doesn't know anything about that stuff.
But we're safe in here.
For how long, honey?
We're safe now. But there's going to be more and more of those things.
I know all that.
I know that.
Yeah, listen.
I'm useful.
When we had the big flood, remember how difficult it was for us to convince you that it was right to leave? Remember we had to go to Willard then? This isn't a passing thing, honey. It's not like just a wind passing through. We've got to do something.
How do you know that? It's been like 3 hours. See, these people are making decisions as if they've been stuck here for weeks already.
Hey, Smiley. Where's that big smile for me?
Uh-oh, he asked her to smile. Cancel him.
Boy.
Cancel him. Get him out of here.
You sure no use at all,
I don't want him to have one more scene in this movie.
And you...
We better get her downstairs.
We have to go downstairs now, Barbara.
She's right. You have to go downstairs now, just for a little while, until we get back. Then we can all leave.
Oh, I'd like to leave. Yes.
Barbara has now regressed to the mind of a child for some reason. Seems her acting skills have also regressed with her. All that work to board the doors. Just gonna undo it. These two are only getting any screen time all of a sudden because he's about to die on this mission. Mostly because it's a stupid mission. I like this one zombie on the left who looks like he came from a toga party. Toga, toga, toga. Why is Harry the one throwing Molotov cocktails? I don't believe he knows how to throw for a second. Oh, he'd try to tell you he threw 100 Molotov cocktails in the war, but no. He was just tossing dough up in the air. This is the stupid, yeah, wow. Judy's an idiot.
Where's you coming? Come on! Get in!
Are you crazy? What are you doing? I love you, Tommy. Didn't he just hear the news guy say shoot them in the head? They just talked about that. It's really not that hard of a rule to remember. See, look how slow they move. They don't even need that truck. They could all just get out of this house at a slow jog. if they really wanted to. Look at that. They do not need this truck. They do not need this gas.
Come on! This key won't work. What's it?
Did you try every key on the ring?
Watch the torch!
I almost thought they were gonna kiss there for a second. Nope, they're gonna fight it out instead, because that's the most important thing to get done right now.
Drag you out there and feed you those things.
Ooh, now we get our eating scene. Most movie fans know this, but in case you don't, this is like, I think it's ham covered with chocolate syrup that these actors were eating for this scene. And another thing was about these old zombies was that they didn't specifically want brains yet. They just wanted some flesh. And see, they still eat like normal people, using their hands and stuff.
isn't it 3 o'clock yet? There's supposed to be another broadcast at 3 o'clock.
10 minutes.
Oh, only 10 more minutes? We don't have very long to wait.
Thanks, Barbara.
Oh, we better leave soon. It's 10 minutes to 3.
You know anything about this area at all? I mean, is Willard the nearest town?
I don't know. We were just trying to get to a motel before dark.
You say those things turned your car over. You think we can get it back on its wheels and drive it? Where is it?
Seems like it was pretty far away. Seems like we ran.
Forget it. It's at least a mile.
Johnny has the keys.
You gonna carry that child a mile through that army of things out there?
I can carry the kid. What's wrong with her? How'd she get hurt?
One of those things grabbed her.
Bit her on the arm.
What's wrong?
Who knows what kind of disease those things carry? Is she conscious?
Barely.
She can't walk. She's too weak.
Well, one of us could try to get to the car.
You gonna turn it over by yourself?
You have a car?
Love
Where?
that
Where
cut.
is it?
You won't be able to start it.
Yeah, I know. But where is it? Good Lord.
Being monitored closely by scientists at all the radiation detection stations. At this hour, they report the level of the mysterious radiation continues to increase steadily. So long as this situation remains, government spokesmen warn that dead bodies will continue to be transformed into the flesh-eating ghouls. All persons who die during this crisis, from whatever cause, will come back to life to seek human victims unless their bodies are first disposed of by cremation. Our news cameras have just returned from covering such a search and destroy operation against the ghouls, this one conducted by Sheriff Conan McClellan in Butler County, Pennsylvania. So now let's go to that film report. All law enforcement agencies and the military have been organized to search out and destroy the marauding ghouls. The Survival Command Center at the Pentagon has disclosed that a ghoul can be killed by a shot in the head or a heavy blow.
Oh, maybe they hadn't said it until right now.
Officials are quoted as explaining that since the brain of a ghoul has been activated by the radiation, the plan is kill the brain and you kill the ghoul.
What do you think from the supply wagon, Cuz? No, we're all right. Hey, Cass, put that thing all the way in the fire.
See, I'm kind of more interested in these people.
Chief McClellan, how's
I almost wish the
everything
movie was about them.
Things aren't going too bad. Men are taking it pretty good. You want to get on the other side of the road over there?
Chief, do you think we'll be able to defeat these things?
Well, we killed 19 of them today right in this area. Those last 3 we caught trying to claw their way into an abandoned shed. They must have thought somebody was in there. There wasn't no. We heard them making all kind of noise. We came over and beat them off, blasted them down.
Beat them off.
Yeah, okay.
Why would you do a
Chief,
thing like that?
If I were surrounded by 6 or 8 of these things, would I stand a chance with them?
Well, there's no problem. If you had a gun, shoot them in the head. That's a sure way to kill them. If you don't, get yourself a club or a torch. Beat them or burn them. They go up pretty easy.
Well, Chief McClellan, how long do you think it will take you until you get the situation under control?
Well, that's pretty hard to say. We don't know how many of them there are. We know when we find them, we can kill them.
Are they slow-moving, Chief?
Yeah, they're dead. They're all messed up.
Well, in time, would you say you ought to be able to wrap this up in 24 hours?
Well,
Yeah, they're dead. They're
we know
all
we'll
messed
be
up.
into it most of the night, probably into the early morning. We're working our way toward Willard, and we'll team up with the National Guard over there, and then we'll be able to give a more definite view.
Thank you very much, Chief McClellan. This is Bill Cardill, WIC TV 11 News.
Thank you, Bill, for that report. Official spokesman declined to speculate just how long it may take to kill off all the flesh eaters. so long as the heavy rain...
Is the fuse box in the cellar?
I don't know. It isn't the fuse. The power lines are down.
It is my professional opinion that now is the time to panic.
Haven't you had enough? Well, 2 people are dead already on account of that guy. Take a look out that window.
Actually, those people are dead because they were morons. Here go the zombies being smarter than they should be again. Why didn't they do this before? This guy's so misguided.
Go ahead. Go ahead. You want to stay up here now? Helen, get the cellar. Get the cellar now. Move!
Kill him. Finish him off. Ben has got to stop aiming from the hip. Does not help anything. You ever think about just moving away from the door there, Helen? I actually like this. I like it when they milk a death scene for all it's worth. Let the guy drag it out a bit. Because that's how dying usually is, you know, like old westerns, you get hit in the back with an arrow once and you're dead. It's not how it works. Of course, this isn't quite how it works either, but it's better than if he didn't get up again. I find it hard to believe they have that good a grip on her. Oh, all of a sudden Barbara decides to wake up. And it does her absolutely no good. Kid's a zombie now. Like we all knew she would be. This is arguably one of the most famous images from the film, is Karen the zombie. That's the poster, actually, that came with my Criterion Blu-ray. I haven't watched a ton of giallos in my life, but that seemed like a very giallo scene. They hadn't really taken off yet in '68, but I don't think they had anyway. I want to like those. I want to like Italian horror movies. I feel like they should be up my alley. But none of them have really clicked with me. Johnny, no! Johnny don't need his glasses no more. Except Bird with the Crystal Plumage, I think, was a good Italian horror flick. I should rewatch that. They have a Arrow Video edition. Looks pretty cool. It's not new or anything, it's been out for a while. Why does this kid suddenly have super strength? We're acting so scared of her. Well, they have breached the gates. We have stormed past the wall of Helm's Deep. They told us it would take a force of tens of thousands, but nope, it's more like 60. Better whack 'em. Aim from the shoulder, for goodness sake. Yeah, that's good. Use up all your bullets on him. It's not like we're in a life or death situation where one ought to conserve ammo. Yeah, she's gonna come up too, bud. Just one bullet for her, though. It's because he didn't like Harry. That's why he shot him 3 times. Nothing left to do now. Just gotta sit there. Wait it out. Hey, it's Dawn. Does that make this Dawn of the Dead? I like those old helicopters. Batman had one of those in the old 1960s show. Or at least in the movie. I like the open cockpit. Not sure the dogs would be much help in this case. Did we train them to smell dead flesh walking around?
Hey, Vince, Al, you want to get about 4 or 5 men and a couple dogs? There's a house over here behind those trees. We want to go check it out. Thank you. Go here, Bill.
Yeah, Chief, we're going to stay with it till we meet up with the National Guard.
Where'd you get the coffee?
One of the volunteers, you're doing all the work, you take it.
Thank you. We should be wrapped up here about 3 or 4 more hours. We'll probably get into Willard then. I guess you can go over there and meet the National Guard. Nick, you and the rest of these men want to come with me?
Well, Bill, let's check in the office, see what's happening. All right, Steve, tell them we're going to stay with it, and everything appears to be under control.
Yeah, right. So this ending here is where the famous socio-political commentary comes from. Late 60s was obviously the height of a lot of race-related riots and whatnot, political protests and marches, and these cops mistaking this black man for one of the undead and shooting him on the spot, and then burning him, no less. Obviously some purposely provocative imagery, even though Romero tried to claim it wasn't. And I'm not a death of the author type of person. Like, I usually take the filmmaker's word for it, but like, come on. I mean, I think he was saying at first, early on, that there was no intended message, just because maybe he didn't want the movie to be remembered just for that. I find it hard to believe that was something that was buried in his subconscious, that it wasn't intentional. It is kind of a... I mean, there's a point to it, but it's always a disappointing ending at the same time, because, you know, you follow one person for an hour and a half, 2 hours. You don't want them to just die at the end and that be the end of the movie. It's not my kind of movie, really. Technically, he's a re-dead one. A dead squared one. He's dead to the second power.
You, drag that out of here and throw it on the fire. Nothing down here? All right, go ahead down and give him a hand. Let's go check out the house. There's something there. I heard a noise. All right, Vince, hit him in the head, right between the eyes. Good shot. Okay, he's dead. Let's go get him. That's another one for the fire.
And then you have this ending in newspaper-like photographs on top of everything else. And they got these hooks so they don't have to touch them, which I think is interesting. I don't think we ever saw that in another zombie movie. So that's Night of the Living Dead. Again, really a movie that is... it's most notable for what it spawned, you know, what it helped zombies become in pop culture. I don't think it itself is that excellent, but at the same time, it's like, it was so cheaply made. Maybe this is as good as we could expect. Always weird to critique a cheaply made movie because of that reason, you know? You don't know how many compromises upon more compromises they had to make. This is probably the best possible outcome. It's an interesting movie, not necessarily a great movie. It's probably the best way to put it. that concludes our feature presentation.